What's up, Internet? This is Rambling Josh, and welcome to the first episode of a new Let's Play project. The game this time around is, of course, Shovel Knight. A game that I've been playing quite a bit of since it came out. In fact, I've earned almost all of the achievements. I don't know why I mentioned that, it's just... I think this game is pretty swell. So anyways, first things first, let's get this thing started. I wish there was a space that you could add to your names, but you can't. So let's just get it going here, and I'll talk a little bit during the intro. So if you haven't heard of Shovel Knight, it's a obviously kind of retro style game. It's an indie game that first got a lot of attention, I want to say at PAX East 2013, I think, was when it first got a lot of attention. And people have been paying a lot of attention to it ever since then. So the game came out a couple weeks ago at this point, and like I said, I've been playing quite a bit of it. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. It's obviously a retro style game that takes a lot of influence from the kind of NES era platformers, like your Mega Mans and your Castlevanias and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's just really well made on the whole, so I'm somewhat excited to have the chance to demonstrate it to all of you. And hopefully at this point in time I'm able to do so at a decently high level. I've actually been looking at the possibility of speedrunning this game. I probably could be doing that already, honestly, but I just haven't taken the time to really get down to it and get some attempts in. So anyways, this is Shovel Knight. It's pretty simplistic. It kind of speaks for itself for the most part. You're this little blue dude with a shovel. You can jump, you can swing your shovel, and that's not all, but that's really what this game is about. So, I guess I should talk a little bit about, first off, one of the big things about this game is obviously collecting these little jewels, these gemstones. These are the game's currency, and you use them to purchase things. So in the first couple of levels, I'm going to be making an effort to get as much money as I possibly can. Money's not really short in this game ever, but by kind of getting as much as I can in the first couple of levels, I can make our trips to the shop kind of a lot more efficient, which isn't particularly important, but it's cool. So anyways, this is a checkpoint. You can use these. Obviously when you die you will come back here. You'll notice that this checkpoint has a little gold wings around it, and that'll be, I'll mention what that actually means a little bit later. So gems come from all kinds of things. Obviously you get them from killing enemies. There are these little dirt blocks you can destroy that will often drop them as well. And there's, you know, all kinds of places you can get money. You probably also noticed that I am able to do this pogo thing with my shovel, which is pretty cool. It's quite handy. Usually, in most situations, pogoing ends up being slower than just using your shovel normally, but it's most of the time it ends up being a lot easier and a lot safer, so that comes in handy. There's these little dirt piles you can dig up for money, and a lot of times along the walls you'll see little, I'm not sure what you call them, like inconsistencies. You can see one right here, and that usually means that you can bust the wall open. So that's cool. There's a lot of kind of intricacies as to how using your shovel actually works, which are kind of cool. I don't know how much of them I'm going to go into today, but there's a lot of cool stuff about it. For instance, you can... Let's see if I can actually do this. You can do like a jump cancel, so if you listen really closely, there were 3 attacks there in quick succession, which is a lot faster than you can normally attack, so that's cool. There's a little sheet of music here, so we're going to grab that. Music sheets, there are 46 of them in the game, and I'm going to try to uncover all of them. I know where more or less where all of them are. I don't know their exact positions off the top of my head, but in general, I'm just going to be trying to demonstrate basically everything I can in this game. Oop. So one of the cool things about the ability to pogo is that a lot of times it's used in the platforming. So you can do stuff like that, pogo off the enemy to get up to higher points. I know I said I'm getting as much money as I can, but I probably shouldn't really bother with the little $1 gems. But whatever. There's something else I was going to mention. There's just so much to talk about the little intricacies of this game. Oh, right. One of the things that you'll probably see me doing a lot throughout this game is, I'm not sure what you would call it, I guess pogo canceling. So normally when you, the way that you use your pogo is when you're jumping in the air you press the down button. But as soon as you do that you're kind of pogoing indefinitely. So you don't have to hold the down button in order to continue pogoing, which is convenient for areas like this, so you don't have to hold down and to the side in order to get across those gaps. I never actually killed this guy. Grab his money. So that's really convenient for controlling your pogo, but there are points where that is not ideal, where you don't actually want to be pogoing, because sometimes, you will inadvertently destroy stuff below you, which at times can get you killed. So a lot of times, like I said, what you'll see me do is pogo canceling. I kind of tend to do it instinctively, so it looks kind of like that. Basically, attacking with your shovel will cancel your pogo, so after hitting what needs to be hit, a lot of times, like I said, I'll just instinctively cancel the pogo. Oop. Hopefully I have my video settings such that I'm not completely invisible after I get hit. This game runs at 60 FPS and it's kind of set up such that when you take damage you flash every other frame. So that can cause problems, especially on YouTube when everything is reduced to 30 FPS. Okay, hold on. The skeleton can be major troll here. So the best way I've found to deal with him is to just jump over him, and either just jump over him and just keep going, or worry about killing him afterwards. But yeah, that skeleton can be a major troll. What was I saying? Yeah, so hopefully my video settings are such that Shovel Knight is not completely invisible when he is flashing. But if he is, not much I can do about it at this point. There's a little hidden area over here because, well, you can see that there's quite possibly something there. If there's an area that it looks like there's a secret, there probably is a secret. Most of them are pretty obvious. Some of them are a little less obvious. That's the interesting thing about these beetles, is if you shovel them normally, they kind of flip over, and while they're flipping over, you can actually pogo off them for a second. There's actually at least one spot where that comes in handy. I may or may not be able to demonstrate that, but that's much later. And here we have the first boss. The Cerulean Coward. Is that kind of like the Blue Bomber? steal thy shovel. So this guy, the Black Knight, is kind of like Proto-Man. I really wish this is one of the fights that I wish the most that I was better at. You can actually do this little AI loop where you can kind of shovel him into the corner and trap him there, kind of like that. But I'm really bad at it. Just in general, I'm really bad at this fight. I wonder if I can actually demonstrate. You can knock him out of that pretty easily if your timing is good. There we go. You can reflect that little thing back at him, and it will damage him. You actually get an achievement if you kill him by reflecting his projectile back at him. I already have it, but yeah. So that is the plains all good and done with. Oh yeah, and after every stage you have one of these little campfire sequences, which is kind of cool. It adds to the narrative a little bit, I find. So this game is kind of broken up into sections, and after each section you have one of these actual like dream sequences where you have to catch Shield Knight, and I failed, I guess. But that doesn't really matter. This is not one. This is kind of not quite like the other ones, but I'll talk more about that when it comes time. The important thing to note is that you can dig up your campfire. There's an achievement for that too, actually. So this is the world map. Part of it, anyways. This is sort of the main town. You have to come here immediately after the plains, but I don't want to mess around with there too much yet. I want to come here to Pridemore Keep. There's stuff that I could do in town, and probably doing so would make Pridemore Keep easier. We got to make sure to come over to this area on the left here because secrets. This one's pretty easy to miss if you don't think to go to the left. But anyways, like I said, I want to come directly here because I want to have gobs and gobs of money before I actually head into town. Just because I think it's fun. Oh, jeez. Well, that's... I don't think I've ever died there before. That was interesting. So that's what happens when you die. But luckily you can recover your money. And yeah, you can actually pick up those bags with your shovel as well, which is pretty cool. Now that we have that embarrassing death out of the way. These little jousting horse things are kind of a pain. It can actually be kind of hard to get down the timing to when you actually jump to hit them. I don't think you can really hit them with your normal attack just because their little lance outranges your shovel. Get that money, yo. Actually, there's an achievement. Where is it? Where is it? I probably went past it already. Oh no, there it is. Dirt Poor. Don't collect any gold from an entire Order of No Quarters stage. The reason I mention that is because I'm pretty sure that the stage Pridemore Keep is the best stage to do that in. It requires, you know, some patience and being careful, but it's surprising how many of these stages is actually impossible to not collect money at some point in. Because obviously there's a lot of it in this game and it's kind of hard to avoid sometimes. But you can do it here. Boop. Oh wow. I thought those things died in 3 hits. Well, whatever. Okay. So So the thing about this game is, or one of the things about this game is the checkpoints. I mentioned that in the previous area, the plains, that the checkpoints had the little gold wings around them. And that means that those checkpoints are invincible, because one of the things you can do in this game is destroy checkpoints. Little bits of money will pop out, and you can grab it. The downside is, of course, that you can no longer use that checkpoint, but these guys are interesting. They remind me a lot of the Dark Nuts in Zelda 2, the way they kind of block low or high. I find that the best way to take care of them is to pogo on their head, and it might hit them if their shield is lowered, or you might just pogo off their shield. And all you do is, once you pogo off their shield, you kind of fall down and quickly shovel them in the face. This is kind of cool here. You can jump up here and grab this red gem. Obviously, the downside to destroying checkpoints is that you can no longer use them as checkpoints, so at this point, if I was to die, I would go back to the beginning of the level, but I'm not too worried about that happening. Normally, I would just run under that one checkpoint, but it would be just like me and just recording video games in general, that immediately after I said I wasn't worried about dying, I would fall on those spikes and die. That's just what would happen. Okay. So we gotta make our way across here. I was probably a little too careful there, but I'm always really paranoid about falling in that pit. There's really only 2 spots, I think. Is it 2 or is... Actually, that might be the only spot. There aren't that many places in this level where you're really at any real risk of dying. Oh, I really sped past that text by accident. Oh well. It's just habit. I don't know why this guy is in a chest, but he has a flare wand to sell me. So I'll talk about that more once I get out of here. So let's see. Usually, I always try to wait for the pot to spill. Like what I do is I jump on the platform, I jump back once, wait for the pot to spill, and then go across. I die there on the way back out, like inexplicably often. I don't even really understand why. I understand why. That's a silly thing to say. But yeah, it's deceptively easy to die there. Anyways, I got this thing called the Flare Wand, which is our first relic. And relics function kind of like sub-weapons in Castlevania games, wherein you can do fancy stuff like shoot fireballs. And you do that by using your magic, which is the little blue pot where it says item. So you've got a limited amount of magic, you can find it throughout the stages, and it's handy and good and stuff. Relics in general are really useful in this game, so yeah. The Flare Wand in particular is one of the more useful ones, despite being really simple, just because, well, your shovel obviously has a pretty short range, for one. And also because you can fire out fireballs really quickly. So there are some... It's really handy to be able to get out 2 little fireballs really quickly and shoot them all the way across the screen. But just so you can be like, hey, there's a griffin over there. Oh, I'm out of magic, that's what's up. Unfortunately, you only start with 30. These guys really aren't too hard to kill, though, so... And they drop chicken. Or I guess it's turkey? I don't know. So... yeah. Okay, gotta bounce off these guys, because... What? That was kind of silly. I've never had any trouble getting up here before. Actually, come to think of it, getting up here is kind of like disproportionately hard, I guess I would say, because like it's actually like there's not much in this area to really warrant how hard it is to get up here. Like, not that it's especially hard, but like chaining together those pogos and actually even noticing that there's an area up here to get into is not especially easy. It's always so satisfying to chain together hits like that really quickly. And it's really easy, it's made a lot easier by low ceilings. Right, I gotta jump up here. Okay. These little flying rat things are typically very annoying. One thing I don't think I mentioned about this level is that a lot of times when you see these little red banners, there will be gems hiding behind them. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you are trying to go through this level without collecting any money. Because obviously if you accidentally pick up one of those gems, that will foil your efforts, so to speak. Oop. Oop. I accidentally bounced on the dirt pile. Now this guy is stuck up here. I didn't even know that was there. Come on. Get out of that corner. That was probably not even worth my time at that point, honestly. He took so long to kill. Those guys can be real jerks, depending on where they're hiding. What do we got over here? That platform knocked the gem off the... Ugh. Okay, so that's another music scroll. Hop off the book here. I guess this is another part where it's quite likely that you might die. You gotta pogo off those books. Try not to get eaten by the lava. It looks harder than it actually is, I think, but if you're careful, there's not really any reason that you should die there. Another griffin. So yeah, they go down without too much trouble. And we're basically at the end of the stage here. Give me them ones. Okay, so here we are, King Knight. A decadent dandy. Shovel justice! This guy's kind of weird, actually, in my mind, because, like, he's a really simple boss, but I found that while I've gotten a lot better at doing all the other bosses as I kind of get better at the game, I've never gotten much better at fighting this boss, and I don't know why. But anyways, he's always pretty easy. So that was pretty fast. Ideally, you want to kill him before he summons the razor confetti, as I like to call it. But that doesn't always happen. So that was obviously just, you know, a normal stage. We just kind of fall asleep at the campfire. I guess before I finish off this episode, I'll explain a little bit about how the areas of the map work here. So you can see that there's a little yellow lock thing over to the right that disappeared down there. And that's because we cleared Pridemore Keep. This lock here, we have to just defeat Spectre Knight at this area here. So once we do that, obviously the path upwards will be clear, and we'll be able to proceed to the next area of the world map. So every time you finish off an area, in this case Pridemore Keep and is it called the Lich Yard, constitutes one section of the map. And once you clear off a section of the map, you have like a special dream sequence. But we will not see that until the next episode of Let's Play Shovel Knight. So until then, I will catch you next time.